Hi and welcome to the channel. My name's Avery and today we're going to look at a Firefly. I've got some cheater cards here. These are the items in which we're going to kind of go over. And this little cheater card here tells me the information on it. And this is a Firefly FFMN. One in yellow is $219.91, and if you get the red one, it's $221.91. Firefly claims that this is a mahogany body with Canadian maple neck, a maple fretboard. They're not saying Canadian maple there, it just says maple. Flame maple top with stainless steel frets. And the funny thing, the website says that it has nickel strings and a bone nut. We'll find out why that's funny here in just a second. Let's open up the box and see what we actually have inside. I think that's all the tape. I will give this company one thing. I bought several guitars, and they're the only ones that I've seen that actually encapsulate pretty much the whole guitar in this styrofoam. So that is a neat touch. We'll just toss that stuff out of the way here. And you can see in the box, it's kind of wrapped around it. Pretty snug fit, actually. Here. So here's the guitar, and we do have some goodies. Looks like in this little container, the towel's falling off. This little container looks like they give you a cord, tremolo bar, truss rod adjustment tool, and some Allen wrenches. Set that over there for right now. I'm gonna set that over there, out of the way. Get a little rubber band on the neck here. That's almost as bad as fingers going across the chalkboard. Actually, it's got a really pretty flame top on it, doesn't it? Let's put the towel back on top here. And on the back of the guitar, back of the headstock, front of the headstock. And here's why it's funny. Nickel strings with a bone nut. This one is sent out with a generic Floyd Rose copy. So when I read that, I was like, well, there's no way there's a bone nut on there because it's a tremolo. So it looks like we have one volume and a 3-position toggle switch. Now we have our next little cheat sheet here, and things I want to go over. We want to look at the overall fit and finish. How do the routes look? How does the tremolo fit into the route? don't know if you can see it. First obvious issue right here, there seems to be a slight problem in the route right there. Let's keep looking. Look at our net pocket. Feel the neck. Actually, it doesn't feel too bad. Just check our routes on the back here where our covers are. It feels a little recessed in here, and the cover is protruding the body here. Exact same. Pretty much flush here, and there the cover is protruding past the body. Finish on the back of the guitar. There is some slight checking right here in the finish. I'm going to hold it to the light. I don't know if that'll be visible on the camera as I move it back and forth, but there is a spot here and here. The top of the guitar, looking at it at the light, don't see anything. Let's check don't see anything obvious. Let's check our finish on our binding. Right here I see a little red here, right here, and that is most likely where they sanded to the binding and went through. This is probably a very thin veneer, so that's probably where they went through the veneer, and that's a glue most likely. Up top, there is a slight, where the locking nut isn't quite as wide as the neck. It does feel like it's the same on both sides. The tree, everything else looks decent. And they look like a Grover copy tuner. Black inlays. Okay, well that would be our fit and finish. I'd say for $219, it's a very good fit and finish. The next thing I'd look at is right here is the seam and the veneer for the book match. I'm not going to gauge it and measure it, but it looks pretty much like it's in center. And I do not see any glue lines here where it come through the seam and the veneer. So all that looks pretty good. Next thing on my list would be fret sprout. Let's check it for fret sprout. And in this case, it doesn't seem like we have to worry too much about that. If you look at the very end, these are ball-ended frets where they've actually sanded them out round. They're not using a 30-degree chamfering piece. So that looks pretty good. Relief in the neck. That's how much relief they've put in the neck from the factory. And let's see what the scale length is here. It kind of looks like it'd be a 25.5. me look at it. Out of the box, believe it or not, there's a little bit of a crown in that neck. The neck is actually crowned this way, so it's bowing back. I mean, it's very little, but it is there. Make sure I'm on the right scale length. It is just ever so slight, but the neck is, I would say most people would consider that perfectly straight with zero relief. Alright, let's see what they set the strings at from the factory. Just using a string action gauge from StewMac. So let's see what at the 12th, what we have here. Looks like to the bottom of the string is 0.060. 0.060 on the low E, and that's at the 12th. And looks like 0.050 on the high E. It's actually pretty low. Alright, now let's see if we have any high frets. We're just going to use a fret rocker. Let's see what we have here. We'll start at the top. And right off the bat, we have our second fret rocking. So let's just go through and see how bad it is. And it is rocking front to back. That's our first spot that's good. Good. Again, rocking. Rocking. Rocking, level, level, rocking. That one's rocking a lot right there. Level. We'll have to flip the tool over. Good, good. Just a little bit of a rock there. Rock there, good. Again, right here. Again here. Again, level. And let's roll the tool over again. Just a little bit right there, and a little worse there. And rocking there, a little bit there. little bit right there. A little bit right there. I didn't keep track of that, but that's pretty bad. That's it's not 1 or 2 frets. It seems like there's at least 12 frets. We're going to go ahead and plug it in and see what it sounds like. But to get this guitar in a really good playable state, it's going to need some fret leveling and crowning. You're going to level, then you crown. You don't crown and level. So let's get the tremolo bar out of the little package. We'll put it in the guitar, and we're going to check and see. Well, actually, now that I think about that, let's check. I don't know if you all will be able to see this or not. We're going to check intonation. And we're using the pretty much industry standard. It's a Peterson strobe tuner. It's an extremely accurate. Let me grab a pick here. Oh. And some coffee. You can't work on guitars. Gotta have coffee. I love that stuff, but holy mackerel, is it expensive. Okay, let's see what we have here. So right out of the box, we're at D. We're just gonna D sharp and bring it up to E. We're just gonna check this one string. Quite stable right there. Now the issue a lot of people have is they'll go right to their 12th. You should always do this with the guitar in your lap. We're going to check the intonation. You can see that it's going down just a little bit. One more time. And it falls off. Now it's going down. Now for some, they would say, oh, well, you know, that's close enough. So it is close. I'll give it that. The next trick is we want to check how the locking nut is installed. Since the intonation is that close, the notes across your top E should be pretty close. So let's just engage our first. And typical. It is way high. So immediately that's telling me that this locking nut needs to go down. What causes that is the string is so far above your first fret position in your action. When you actually fret it, the note isn't true. As you come down the fingerboard, that should get a little better. Let's go to the G. You can still see the G is still a little high. Let's go to A. And the A is starting to fall off a little bit. Let's try that one more time. When you first hit it, it is high. Let's move one up here. And you can see our C is falling off. So that tells us what we need to know as far as the intonation and how the nut up there is actually set. Be honest with you, I have seen very few guitars out of the box have this correct. That is not a setup issue. People go, oh, you know, that's setup, that's setup. That's a manufacturing issue. That's a tolerance that they've set at the factory where the machine comes across, and that just needs to be lowered in their CAM program. The machine needs to remove a little bit more material. It's much easier to have to add, you know, a 1/1000th shim or something underneath this nut to bring it up. I believe this is the second run of these guitars. So on their first run, no one actually went back and changed the programming on the CNC for this relief cut. But that's easily fixed. There's two ways you can do it. You can either route the neck and make the pocket deeper, or you can take the nut off and put it on a belt sander and machine off or sand off the bottom of the nut until you correct that. All right, let's plug it in here. I'm going to need a couple seconds to hook the tuner up and get it into the amplifier. And actually, while we're doing that, we'll just go through the strings real quick and just give it a tune. Yep, it's going to require loosening the nut. We'll put these down a little bit. Let me go through and tune the guitar. We'll be right back. Okay, the next thing we want to kind of look at here, on cheaper guitars, what will end up happening with this lock nut. When you go to tighten the lock nut, it'll actually change the tuning of the guitar. So let's get the E up and into position. I don't know if you all can see the tuner or not there. So that is in tune, and we're going to try to lock it and see how much of a difference does it throw it out. It does bring the tuning up just a little bit. Let's loosen it. Go through and check the A. D. All right, let's lock it down and plug it in and see what it sounds like. After we lock it down, we'll do a fine tune. Okay. Now I have the tremolo bar here. We're going to put that in. Okay, let's move this over here. Of course, I'm going to have to unplug here just a little bit. This all hooked back up. And just for reference, we are playing through an Applied Research Technology SGX 2000 Express through a inline tube sweetener to a BBE 362, then into a ProValve tube power amplifier. This is a tube rig setup, and the SGX is a multi-effects processor. So let's see what she sounds like. It has a nice sound. Seems like the harmonics are good on it. It does feel gritty. It feels, let me turn the volume down here. Oh, that's something else. The volume knob seems very stiff. Some people may complain. I would say that's a good thing. I don't play Fender Strats for one reason. As you're playing, you hit the volume knob, it turns down the volume. I don't really think you'd have an issue with that on this guitar. And we're going to slowly turn the volume. That is the bridge position. Let's go to the center position. Center position and neck position. Okay, I do not have my floor unit right here, so I'm going to have to walk over and change my preset. This should be a clean tone. Let's check out clean. That's our bridge position, center position, and neck position. Let's go to our center. tell by my fingers here, these are pretty cheap strings. They're getting a black residue on them. And it sounds like we're a little out of tune. Of course, literally just unboxed this thing, tuned it, and started playing it. Let's check our tune. Alright, we're going to go back over and put some distortion on and see if we can make this thing do here. Let's start working on the tremolo, see if it'll stay in tune. Alright, let's check tune. It's fallen off quite a bit. Alright, after a couple tunes, you can see the bridge is pretty much parallel with the body, so that's good. It's holding tune surprisingly well for a cheaper bridge. Let's check again. And it's fallen off again. You can hear it. The big thing I see when playing it, it feels very gritty. And I'm not sure if that's the extremely cheap strings. Let's turn the volume down. Or the fretwork. But we're going to take this guitar downstairs. We're going to do some work to it and see if we can't get it to actually play a little better. Out of the box, this is probably one of the worst guitars I've ever pulled out of the box as far as fretwork. Is it buzzing anywhere? Right there. Yeah, there's a couple buzzy frets. A lot of people, if it doesn't cause an issue, they don't fix it. And up here in the higher registers, that's where we had most of the really bad frets. And I can, yeah, that one's clear. Little buzz. It definitely, I'd say this particular one right here, the frets are in need of some work. So, like I said, this is the Firefly FFMN. If you guys like these type videos, if you would post some comments down. If you've bought one, how was yours out of the box? A lot of people buy these guitars, they fix them. Um, I know that for a fact. I have a Firefly right here that was my significant other's. Um, it's a great playing guitar. It just required a little fretwork. At $219, it comes down to, if you're handy at repairing guitars, I think these things are probably great buys. If you're wanting a cheap guitar to play right out of the box, this particular one, I believe you could give to a beginner and it would be fine. There's no notes that are so horrible on it that makes it unplayable. It's definitely playable, but we're going to work on it and make it better. But if you would, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell, and thank you for watching.